Okay, in this video we're going to talk about the autofill method. So if we look on the Microsoft Excel doc, you see we got range autofill method expression, so this is going to be a range again. It can be a variable that expresses a range, or it can just be a range itself. And then .autofill, and then this is a little misleading. It shows destination and type in parentheses, but when you do this code, you're going to have to write it. As you can see down here, you're going to have to write destination with a colon and then equals, and then your range. And then there is different types, so you would put like comma, type, colon, equals, and then use those different types. These are the different types that are in there, so I'll have a link to this page in the video. But anyway, let's get started. So in this, I've got a number and then a square column. The number is just 1 through 10, and you can see the square root is a2, or square is, my formula is a2 to the square root, or square root to the second power. So if we go to the first line, this is just the straight autofill. So what we're doing is cells 2, 2, so that's 2 down, 2 across, dot autofill, and then we have a blank, and then we have our destination. So this is, the destination is where we want to put in our autofill. So in this case, we would want to autofill all the way through here, right? So we're going to say destination equals range cells 2, 2, which is this, through cells 2, 1, which is this, end, XL down, dot offset 0, 1. So the reason we're doing this cells 2, 1 and XL down, offset 0, 1 is kind of important. So we want it to go all the way to the end, but where is the end? Well, the end is from this column over here. We want it to match up to this column. So at some point we have to tell it about that column, otherwise the end is just all the way down to the bottom of Excel, right? We have to give it a reference to know where that end is going to be. So that's what we're doing. We're saying go to this cell and then go to the end all the way down, which is here, and then offset down 0 to the right 1. All right? And so when we hit F8, you can see it filled in my formula, and we did that. Now, the other thing we talked about types. The one that you might use probably more than any is going to be the fill format. So on this one, we're doing the same thing, everything here, but in this case, we're just saying the type of autofill is just the format. So if I were to take these out again and start from scratch, let's unfill these. And understand that because I didn't have a type up here, it copied everything. So it copied the format and the thing. But if I just wanted it to do the format, we would hit that, hit F8. Sorry, hit F8. You can see it just filled in the format. It didn't fill in the formulas. So anyway, that's a quick overview of how to use autofill. So if you're trying to, again, like when you're writing your code, if you wanted to go to a cell, copy the formula and paste it all the way down, you can just do that. Now, we've talked before about recording a macro and having it, sort of autofill. So if we tried that, let's end this for a minute. We're going to unfill that. So let's say we recorded a macro to understand this code, and so we hit copy and then paste like that. So that's how you might do it if you were just doing it in Excel. And if we go over and look at the code here, I did this one earlier. If we go and look in the code here, we selected a range, we copied, and then we selected the range we wanted to put it in and paste. So that's one way we could do it. We could also, let me see here, sorry, let's take that out. So we could highlight that and just do like that. And you can see it made it type fill default. But we selected it, we auto-filled, and then so you can see it did auto-fill this way, and it did select and then paste the other way. But we simplified our code a little bit so that we didn't have to do copy and paste. We just used the auto-fill. Now, it is important to note, and you'll see this a lot as you start to use different like help sites like Stack Exchange and stuff like that, that they will tell you that you want to avoid using select and then selection dot whatever. This is redundant. So like if we're looking at this, for instance, let's go back here and delete this. And if we were to run this code, I'm stepping through it again, I'm going to select that one, copy it, select that, paste it, end. Alright, so we can clean this up quite a bit just by removing all the selections and not having those second lines. So we could do that, take that out. We could do that, take that out. So now let's go back up again. We hit feet, copy, and paste. Oops, sorry. Oh, I don't even need to do that. Try this again. So you can see I had 4 lines and I just made it 1 without ever using select and then selection. So in general, if you're writing code, you should almost never have select and then selection on the next line. In any of those scenarios, you're probably just fine to go in and take out the part that says select and then selection. So like let's go down here to this one. Delete all that junk. So we go F8. And so we clear the contents, right? So let's go. Oh, I'm still recording over here. Let's go back to this. Again, we could take out select and selection and just right clear contents, and now if we run it, it does that. So you almost never want to use selection, and in this particular case we also wanted to delete the coloring in there, so we got with selection and with, but we could have just as easily put with range B3 through B11. So if you're saying, well, okay, I deleted my selection up here, but then I had this with underneath it, and I needed that. Well, no, you don't even need that. Okay. So you can see that worked as well. And then, so anyway, just as you're writing code, think about that. You almost never want to have selection in your code. It's almost always redundant, and then potentially causes other problems. So just bad practice to have selection in your code in general.